Hi guys, today I'm going to talk about the experience I've had with my Invicta Pro Diver. This is a watch here. Now I've had this nearly 2 years now. I just want to talk a little bit about how I've got on with it, what's happened to it, do I like it, that type of thing. Okay, a quick story about why I even bought this watch in the first place. Going back, oh crikey, nearly 20 years ago, I bought this Seiko chronograph. It came on that bracelet and bought that brand new. Paid, if I remember rightly, around £140 for it. Not far off 20 years ago, maybe 18 years, I don't know exactly. And I've been wearing that, my only watch I wore, apart from a digital occasionally when I was working. I didn't want to mess this up. But like 99% of the time I wore this fantastic watch. Been for a few batteries over the years. I always took it to the jewellers to get a new battery. And there's nothing wrong with it, but the strap started to become unreliable. The buckle wasn't doing up properly. And I'd had it for so long, and I could have got it fixed. It's not a big deal. But I had it so long, I thought I would maybe look for something else, a different watch for a change. And at the moment, I've got a lovely black NATO on it, which really suits it. I've put a new battery in it, and I've actually started wearing it again on the odd occasion. Okay, so what I did is, after quite a bit of research, looking for a decent quality watch that represented good value for money and a bit of a diver style, which I like, I came across the Invicta brand, which I hadn't even heard of before. I wasn't really into watches. I'm a bit more into them now, but excuse me, I wasn't really into them. I didn't really have a clue, but read some good things about this brand. It's a brand that predates Rolex, in fact, although now they're based in America, and they've done some very strange and quite gaudy models, and they've done some really good models. And some of their better models are the ones which replicate the Rolex Daytona and the Rolex Submariner. Now, this wasn't the first Invicta I got. So after quite a lot of research, looking at deals, I found this one on Amazon, brand new. It's a quartz, and it's the Speedway 9211. Absolutely beautiful watch. It's a stainless steel brushed bracelet, but with polished center links. You've got polished sides, and it's very, very similar to the Rolex Daytona. Screw down crown. It's good for 200 meters. So this is a proper, you can swim in this, you can probably go snorkeling in this. But it's a quartz, so you don't have to worry about automatic movements. And I'd never had an automatic, so I wasn't sure about them. So I bought this, very happy with it, worn it quite a few times. However, now I'm getting older, my eyesight isn't fantastic, and I find it a little bit hard to read the dial because you've got a bit of a light green fluorescent hands against a white background on silver metal hands, which in this light, okay, you can see it, but in perhaps more shadier areas, I was looking at my watch, not quite actually seeing what the time was, which is obviously the basic function you require from a watch. I would never use all these different stopwatch things, which I'm sure do work, because Invicta are very good. I just want it to look good, tell the time, be able to go swimming in it. That's kind of the basic parameters. I got a fantastic deal on this. I think I paid around £65 new. It was on sale. Found it on Amazon. So I'll pop that back there. So after a while, I kept an eye on Amazon and a little bit more research. And I could see they did this Submariner homage, which they call the Pro Diver. This one came up for about, I think it was about £64. It's automatic. It has the NH35A Seiko automatic movement. It's also screw down crown. Now it's a slightly larger watch. So these are a 40mm width, excluding the crown. This one's a 42, excluding the crown, I believe. And what's nice about it is you've got an exhibition case where you can see the movement, and they've got a bright yellow rotor. It might not be to everyone's taste, but I quite like it coming from a watch with a yellow face, which I still like. I quite like the splash of yellow. No one's going to see it, but it's a nice thing. And you can see the movement ticking away there. Again, it's 200 meters. Now this, really love this. I can read the time on this, even with my eyes, without my reading glasses. I can read this no problem. It keeps extremely good time. I've just recently returned from a trip to Lanzarote where I was snorkeling with my son, and I took this watch, and it was great. I've been in the sea. I was diving down quite far, chasing fish that were swimming around, and yeah, no problems whatsoever. Okay, so what issues have I had? I've had it nearly 2 years. I'm not saying I wear this every single day, because I've got a couple of other watches I've got now. I'm actually wearing one of my vintage watches today, a Tissot Sea Star, which I picked up fairly recently, and I've cleaned up. I really like that. It's an automatic, but I'm not going to wear that swimming. So I will wear that on the odd occasion. I've got a couple of other vintage watches which I'm also wearing occasionally. Now I've got a bit of the watch bug. I'm picking up a few watches. But this did get fairly heavy use for a good part of a year, I would say. And now I wear it every once in a while, especially if I want to go swimming. I want a reliable watch. I'm going to definitely go for this. I wore this on my trip to Rome. Now the problem, here goes a bit of a problem. It comes with a Jubilee strap, which is there. And I have picked up a few scratches on that strap. And with the strap, it does make it a little blingy because it's a 42mm. And when I was in Rome, you know, one of these guys who try to kind of sell you stuff was making a comment about it. And I felt a little bit self-aware. He thought it was a Rolex. And I was on my own in Rome, and you've got to be a bit careful. So I ended up actually turning it around on my wrist when I was out and about, just so it wouldn't draw attention. I didn't want to get mugged. I wasn't bothered when I was in restaurants and things like that, but walking around, I felt a little bit self-conscious with it because it was quite blingy on that strap. And also, that Jubilee strap, I will say with Invicta, isn't, I don't think, the best quality. It's slightly stretched. It was great when it was new, but after a while, the links, you can see, if I hold this properly. I'm just doing that with one hand. I mean, you get the idea. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. It's perfectly nice, but it was getting a little bit stretched. It made it look a little bit blingy for me. And at the end of the day, it's an Invicta. It isn't a Rolex. So I didn't want it looking too blingy. So I found this leather strap, which I think tones the watch down, and I like the look of it. I prefer it on this strap than the Jubilee strap. I don't know what you guys think, but yeah, no, I like it with this. So that's pretty much the story of how I got it. The only other problem or issue I've had is the pip. I think it's called the pip, which goes here, has fallen off. There was a fluorescent little pip which sat in that hole. At some stage that's gone missing, so don't ask me where, no idea. And sometimes unscrewing the crown, changing the time, is a little bit stiff. It's been from brand new. It always does it. It's not a problem. It keeps really great time. It's just not quite as smooth as I'd like it. And the bezel is pretty, it's okay. It's a little bit stiff. But for the money, I would say it's a cracking watch. It certainly looks the part. And being a bit larger, it really does stand out, and people have commented on it that it's a nice looking watch. And if you can find one at that price, usually this watch, which is again the 29178 Pro Diver, usually they're around £100. I found this very cheap on Amazon, brand new, on sale. I was just lucky. You may not find it at that price. But it's one of those things, if you keep looking, they do reduce the prices on some of the watches sometimes. So it's having a look at the ones which are reduced. If you are after a bargain, if you don't care, just buy what you want. And again, this one I found a little bit cheaper than the others that were on there. So this is usually around, I think, the 80-90 mark. And there's a couple of variations on this, but this is quite nice. The only other thing I don't quite like about this is it's got polished sensor links, which look great, but of course they're very easy to scratch. And as soon as you get scratches on them, it starts to look a little bit tatty. So I don't wear this very often at all. I mean, mainly because I can't see the blinking time on it very well. Another reason is I don't want to mess it up. I haven't got any scratches on it. It's absolutely mint. And what I might do is I might actually let my son use this. But I've given him a couple of watches anyway. He probably doesn't need any more, because it's just sitting in the drawer, not being used really. And it's good to use watches. So yeah, I can totally recommend an Invicta if you're looking for something, a good dive watch, which is good quality for the money. I'd say very good quality for the money. I mean, it has got an aluminium bezel, so you've not got ceramic there, it's aluminium. The glass, I think, is Hardlex. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure it's not sapphire. But I haven't picked up any scratches on that, and I wore that knocking around for a year or so. It's worn very well. Highly polished sides. You've got the Invicta logo there, but a lot of people don't like this. You've got the Invicta logo engraved on the sides of the case. And I've read some people think this may be because Invicta wants to not get in trouble with Rolex and you know, make it obvious that it's an Invicta, because it really does look like a Rolex. It's extremely similar. The hand's got the Mercedes emblem on the hour hand, which is the same as Rolex. You've got, I think, what they call the lollipop second hand, although Invicta have got, I love this actually, Invicta have got wings, the Invicta wings on the second hand, as you can see on the other end. And the markings are extremely similar to a Rolex. And of course you've got the crown guards as well, which looks extremely similar. So it's a very, very close looking watch to a Rolex Submariner, especially from a distance. But as you get closer up, it stops trying to fool people, and it's pretty obvious. You've got a large Invicta logo, you've got the Invicta wings, huge engraving on the side and the crown, and on the watch strap itself you've got the Invicta engraved. So overall, great watch. Not that keen on the straps on both of them. I don't like the clasps very much. They're a little bit of a, I don't know, I just don't really like the quality of the clasps. They're a little bit, I wouldn't say sharp, but they're not quite as nice quality as I would hope them to be. I think if Invicta improved the straps on these, you'd have a really good watch. If they could improve the straps, stick on the pip thing a bit harder, maybe give you sapphire glass, and yeah, if they could give you a ceramic bezel for a few extra quid, it would be well worth paying, because then you're really talking a nice looking watch. So I will carry on wearing this from time to time. Probably won't wear that one too much, and I will definitely carry on wearing my old faithful Seiko again from time to time. I love the yellow dial on this. Not that many watches have got this, I would say, kind of Breitling appearance, which is why I bought the watch in the first place. I was a big fan of Breitling back in the day, and it was kind of the closest looking watch I could afford to a Breitling. And it still looks pretty snazzy nearly 20 years later. Anyway guys, thanks for watching. See you next time.